Welcome to the New Fly Fisher. I'm your host, Jenna McKeown, and in today's episode, I'm the guest at Waterfalls Lodge, a beautiful drive-to location situated in Northern Ontario. This week, I'm going to be hunting for massive smallmouth bass, and hopefully, I'll be able to get them strictly on topwater. It's going to be an absolutely wicked show, so stay with us.
It is going to be an absolutely wicked show. Hi, everybody. Mark Melnick here, coming to you for the New Fly Fisher Live. Delayed one night because of the situation in the United States. We thought we'd respect our U.S. brothers and sisters and delay it a day. So here we are. The New Fly Fisher Live is coming up next.
Ooh, that's a nice size fish.
I will catch these all day.
That is what you're in for on this episode.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with a fine young lady who has broken into the TV industry and is doing extremely well. She admittedly was a new fly fisher when she started her career, and today she is doing extremely well, fishing all over North America, catching giants. Let me introduce to you, Jenna McKeown.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mark.
Hi. Hey, Jenna, how you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
Good. I'm so excited to have you on the show tonight. I'm sorry that we had to delay a day, but you know, circumstances are what they are.
No worries at all.
So tell me about your summer a little bit. You've had probably the busiest year you've had with the New Fly Fisher this summer, haven't you?
It was quite busy. Definitely a lot of miles logged going up back and forth across Northern Ontario for sure. I felt like I was gone almost every week.
Yeah, and catching absolute giants. I got to fish with you a little bit. I think we did a couple of shows together, and it was an absolute hoot.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun and found a lot of big fish. So it's all coming back to me.
Yeah, in a flush, right? It's crazy. Yeah. Now, one episode that we didn't get to shoot together was the Waterfalls Lodge episode up in Algoma Country, just north of Highway 17. Just east of Thessalon, Ontario. You went in there and you had an absolutely banner trip, didn't you?
It was incredible. I was shocked by just how active the fish were and how big these smallmouth bass were. It was exceptional.
Right. Well, the whole region is branded as something called Trophy Alley. And no matter what species you fish for, you have an opportunity, whether it's salmon, muskie, bass, walleye, you actually have a legitimate chance at catching a true trophy. We are pleased, very pleased to bring in two of my absolute favorite lodge owners to this, Rob and Kathi, who are the owners of Waterfalls Lodge. Hey, guys.
Hey! Hello.
So for those of you who may not know, these two are absolute characters. I mean, we've been talking for 15
but she is.
We've been talking.
I'm the boring one, and she's the exciting one. And if you've ever been to our lodge, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I have a halo.
It was definitely a fun time this summer, right, guys?
We had an excellent, fun time, exciting time with you, Jenna, and it was a pleasure having you with us this early spring, early June time of year. It was perfect timing, and with us being a little slower with guests because of COVID, I had time to go fishing with you, and
that was so much fun.
And you taught me how to fly fish.
I did. We got to spend that afternoon out on the dock teaching you how to cast. That was a lot of fun. I don't get to fish with women very often, so it was really, really fun to kind of impart the knowledge that I'd learned to you.
It was awesome. I enjoyed it.
Did you catch anything, Kathi?
No.
I think we had a lily pad at one point.
I was learning how to pull the line. There's so much to do with fly fishing compared to just regular fishing. You know, like you got to count and then wait for the whip, where the other one you just whip and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But fly fishing is you pull it in and then you got to watch and how it lands, and there's an art to it.
There is, and I've always explained the sport of fly fishing to new people like skiing and snowboarding, right? You're both doing the same thing. You're going down a snowy hill, but
Yep.
they're both very different in their nuances and their techniques. So that's a very, very interesting observation. So guys, let's have a quick chat about your season. When do you guys open up, and what are you all about?
Well, we actually, if the weather and the ice goes out regular time around the 20th of April, we can have cabins ready and boats ready for early May.
Right.
And we have some guests that love that time of year. And but our official opening is what we call the Main Long Weekend. Usually that's the walleye opening weekend. It's a little bit different this year in 2021. The 2 weekends are different dates. But so that's our grand opening, walleye opening weekend. And then we'll run all the way through July, August, September into the second week of October, which is the Canadian Thanksgiving.
Right. So we're gonna come back to your season and what somebody can expect. I have a little, Jen, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to show this. I have a little teaser that we've created that just sort of highlights what your week at Waterfalls was actually like. Do you mind if I show it?
Oh, totally. I'm so excited for the show to air, and I mean, I can't wait for everyone to see, so go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
This guy came. I was just about to recast because I see a rocky point over there. I looked because my line was wrapped around my boot here at the bottom of the boat. And Rob says, I think a fish just hit your fly. I look up, no fish. Keep looking, bang. Okay, come on, Mr. Bass. Now this one looks a little fat. Are you almost ready there, buddy? Oh, he's like, nope.
There we go.
That's wicked.
Flies. Yeah, perfectly hooked.
Off he goes.
This week, I'm heading to Waterfalls Lodge, in a part of Algoma known as Trophy Alley. This name is not given without merit. This area is known for consistently producing monster smallmouth bass.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this fish is fighting mighty well. Okay. Let's see here. Honestly, for me, the size of the fish doesn't matter as much. It's always fun to catch big fish, but the fight, okay, come on, buddy. The fight, and especially doing top water for smallmouth bass, the take, it's just indescribable, and there's so much action here. This is wicked. Thanks, Rob. Now I'm gonna go ahead here and there we go. And awesome. Super gorgeous fish. So much fun to catch here in Algoma. I'm gonna get this guy back in the water. Oh, there we go. This is so much fun.
This one. Things about Trophy Alley. And Rob and Kathi, you have access to some of the finest smallmouth bass fishing lakes in Ontario, in Algoma Country. And, you know, what viewers may or may not know is Jenna's dad and I are business partners. And he invited me up before we were business partners. We've been friends forever. To the region, and we managed to go fishing together, fishing for smallmouth. We've done it in the spring and done it in the fall. H made a comment about what everybody's largest smallmouth bass was, and Colin tells a story about fishing in that region that blows my mind. There are absolute giants up there, such that his personal best is a 7-pound smallmouth caught in the region.
Wow.
But fish, because there was a 9 that was chasing him behind. He was pulling the fly away from the 9 or away from the 7 to try to catch the 9. And unfortunately, he caught the 7. That speaks volumes to you.
Darn. A 7 pound.
Yeah. But it's great when you see a fish on your line and you see the buddies come up behind it.
Right.
And after the lure or whatever that connection is, that is phenomenal sights when you see that. When I go fishing and you see that, it just gets your blood boiling.
Yeah, Rob, I think we were lucky. We had that happen a few times when we were out fishing together. And there was one time in particular, we got a slow-mo take with both fish coming up and fighting for it. And then during the fish fight, Rob, I saw you at the back of the boat and you kept saying how many fish you could see through the water circling around the fish that I had on my line. And anytime you have visuals like that, it's exceptional.
But that brings up a great point, Jenna, is that whenever you're fishing with a partner, whether you're fishing conventional or you're fishing fly fishing, and somebody hooks a bass, usually when you're fishing other species, you want to pull your line out of your buddies, your other angler's way, so that you don't get tangled or everything. Not so with smallies. You want to throw right in behind, because more often than not, there are followers that are with that. They're like a wolf pack. And if one fish is getting fed, the rest of them turn on like gangbusters, and they try to actually take the fly or the lure out of that fish's mouth. So don't be afraid to throw in behind, right?
Yep, absolutely. When you're fishing with your buddy, be ready, because you see those sightings and what you're talking about there, Mark. Absolutely.
Yeah.
With Jenna, I remember that one fish. It was a good sized smallie. And I could see 3 others with it right behind it. And I think you might have it in the footage in the show. And that makes a great day. That just gets it. Like I said, your blood is going, your enthusiasm. And when you see that, it's just exciting. No doubt about it.
I think for me, like reflecting back on it, is I forgot that even happened, because we caught so many exciting, huge smallmouth bass, not just that day, but the entirety of my trip, that I forgot all about that specific fish till I was going through the footage this past fall. And I was like, oh, right, that was awesome, because that's how many fish we caught.
Yeah, well, with our variety of lakes, we have lots of choices to go to. And if we have a lake that's very, very, very active, and you can arrive to our lodge, I'm going to make suggestions. Hey, let's go to that lake. And what I'm talking about is remote lakes that we get to. They're guided. We get there by side-by-sides. It's about an hour's ride to these lakes. I have boats there. And you're making memories at these lakes. And so those remote lakes are full of fish, absolutely. But the main lakes...
And they don't see any pressure, do they?
No. Absolutely not. And with our catch and release program, which our lodge has been doing for decades, it's all happening.
I understand you hooked a man while you were out there too, Jenna.
That's probably the funniest, one of the funniest moments I've ever had while filming this show. Kathy's referencing this one scene, and I don't want to give too much away because it is referenced in the show, but
is it?
I'll have to tune in tomorrow to see just why it's so funny. Oh my goodness.
How to hook a man.
I mean, at least it makes me look good on camera, right?
Yeah.
Well, just the way you handled the whole moment. Yeah, it's worth watching.
Rob, you mentioned the catch and release program at the lodge. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Yeah, we introduced a catch and release program at the lodge. It's been over 5 years now. And what we promote is mostly catch and release fishing. You can eat some fresh fish while you stay with us at your cabin or for our shore lunch. We ask our guests not to take any fish home, okay? So we ask you not to take any fish home. And then there's when you catch a trophy-size fish, like an 18-inch smallmouth, 23-inch walleye or bigger, 30-inch northern pike or bigger. we encourage our guests to take photos and measurements and then release those fish. And then I ask our guests to bring me the proof right to me. And I reward our guests for doing that with a chance to win a free trip back to the lodge.
Oh, great.
And also we give away T-shirts for Waterfalls Lodge promoting our catch and release fishing.
That's great.
So when they put ballots for each trophy that you catch at our lodge, you can put a ballot entry into the free trip. And every year, the amounts of ballots in that box almost doubles. It's unbelievable. And that's that's one way we can see how the catch and release program is working for fish populations and action. But that box is full of trophy fish. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I love it.
That's great. So you're seeing success with your catch and release program. How has there been with respect to patrons accepting the catch and release program? Because a lot of people want to come up and fill their coolers, right?
Yeah. So when a group or guests call, I talk to them about this catch and release program, and there's a real change in attitude with catch and release fishing. And it's not very often I have a group that will not book in because we ask you not to take any fish home. Okay. Right. It happens once in a while, but not very often. There's a real movement to people who are very happy to support our future, catch and release fish for our future. And and I love it, as I said before. And so the guests that come to our place, they're into catch and release fishing, and it seems to go over very well.
Awesome. Great stuff. To the catch and release system, you also have a catch and release season north of Highway 17 in your region, where you can actually fish for smallmouth or for any species of bass all year as long as you catch and release. Tell us a little bit about that. That's such a unique thing for Ontario.
Yeah, so we're in zone 10 of the fishery zones for fishing. North of Highway 17, they open it up to all year smallmouth bass and largemouth bass open season. And this happened 5 or 6, 7 years ago. And so, which is amazing. They did that because our lakes are full of smallmouth. Mm-hmm. We have walleye, northern pike, perch, lake trout, a great mixed fishery, but the smallmouth are so abundant that they went ahead and opened it up all year long. Now, as a lodge, we promote all strictly catch and release on the smallmouth until after their spawn, or into the third or fourth week of June. So it's all catch and release. If you come in May, early June, it's all catch and release on the smallmouth. Right.
Gotcha. Jenna, you had the opportunity to fish some of the back lakes with Rob and Kathi. Tell me a little bit about that experience. I'm going to show some video too, so let her rip.
It was so much fun. I mean, I love going in side-by-sides. I grew up in the suburbs, so anytime I can get out into the woods and kind of really just embrace it and go by side and see that much forest, it was a lot of fun. And like Rob said, the boats are right there on the back lake. We just had to load our stuff into it and get out. And other than we went with another guest and his guide from Waterfalls, but other than them, there was nobody else in the lake. We had the entirety of the lake to ourselves. We spent all day there, and it was awesome. We definitely had some weather that day, off and on, torrential downpour, but it did not affect the fishing.
Rob, does Waterfalls Lodge hold management rights for all those lakes?
No, we have the privilege to use those lakes.
Mm-hmm.
We have an agreement with the MNR to have our docks and boats in a certain area,
right?
And so we have a license with our government to do that. Right. But these lakes, we have the privilege to use these lakes. We don't own them. Okay, we just need to respect them, and yeah, what an awesome system that we have.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look and see what this back lake fishing looks like.
Okay.
That was awesome. That fish jumped out of the water and slammed that fly. I'm probably gonna slow my retrieve down a little bit then. Do some quick pops and then, oh, nice.
Yeah.
This looks like a decent fish. Okay, again, I looked down because my line had gotten tangled around the tip of my boot. I went to go unhook it, and Rob says, oh, I think you got a fish. Lo and behold, I got a fish.
And there's a buddy right there with it.
Oh, I see it. I think
there's 3 of them.
Oh my goodness. I think the key is going to be slowing down my retrieve a little bit, giving a couple quick pops like I mentioned, and then
Oh, this is a nicer one.
this is a nice fat fish. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, there's 3 of them right down there.
Seems to be really active. There's so much rock structure in this area. That big boulder just keeps going on with lots of break off.
And they
this is a nice
seem hungry.
sight.
They seem hungry this
They
morning.
do.
Look at another big one right beside it.
This is a beautiful fish. I'm gonna try and get him up towards you, Rob, okay?
Okay. We'll just be patient.
There we go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's an awesome fish. Here, I can take that one out.
Yeah, I'll hold the net like this.
Okay, there we go. Pop that right out, right through the top lip. This is a beautiful bass. Oh my goodness. And we haven't been fishing more than 15 minutes.
Yep, 15, 20 minutes and great action already.
Oh my gosh.
This is your biggest one yet.
All right, let's let this gorgeous fish go.
Pretty nice.
Great footage.
I really wish I was back out on the water and not looking out at the snow right now after watching that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's talk a little bit about the lodge, Kathi. You guys have created a family-style lodge that looks after everything that any angler or traveler would ever need. We were joking just 10 minutes before we went live, saying that, you know, I've driven by waterfalls probably 50 times and I haven't dropped in to say hi, and I apologize for that. But tell us a little bit about what your lodge is all about.
So we're 5 kilometers off the highway. Not far, Mark. It's like a hop, skip, and a jump. That's all it is.
I'm pretty sure there's a sign that says that on your way in.
I know there is.
So you come down the road and saw the sign and turned around, Mark?
I don't have time for 5K.
Anyways, we have a full service lodge. We have a restaurant there, and we do American plan, evening meal, and housekeeping. And we can serve your meals in your cabin if you want, or you can eat up in the dining room. If everything goes well this year with COVID, we'll be opening our restaurant this year. We've planned on it, but if we can only serve 10 people, we can't open, unfortunately.
Right.
So we're crossing our fingers we can serve everybody, and we can do our shore lunch like we did before. We always did a shore lunch on Wednesday, serve people their pickerel bass. What was it? It's called Xander. It's a cross fish, and we cook it up on the shore and over a fire, and we have home fries and beans and fish. And we couldn't do it when Jenna was there because of COVID. But we usually do that every Wednesday, and people just love doing that.
Oh,
and our meals are big, and we have no set time for meals. So we have dinner from 4 to 7. So you can come in anytime and have your dinner. And if you don't show up for dinner, we send them down to your cabin and you heat them up when you get in.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
super nice.
So you take the benefits of an American plan and the flexibility of a housekeeping plan, and you mix them together, and you can basically come and go as you please.
Exactly.
Wow, that's ideal. Let's take a quick overview of what Waterfalls Lodge looks like.
We offer fishing on a chain of 5 lakes right here at the lodge. And these lakes are all connected, but we have a waterfalls in between the first and second lake, and then second, third, fourth, fifth lake. They're all connected. And you can boat through and fish all these lakes right from your docks in front of your cottage. These lakes are freshwater, slightly tea colored, so very clear, but they have a slight tint to it. Great for fishing action. And our fishing action is smallmouth bass, walleye, northern pike, perch, lake trout. So a great mix of species here for you to enjoy fishing. We have many things here to do at the lodge other than fishing. So our beautiful waterfront cottages have full decks with a view on the lake, barbecues, full kitchens in the cottages. Okay, you're gonna find our cottages clean, well maintained, and ready to go for you for a great vacation. Also, we have many other things that we do here. And we have a beautiful sand beach. We have beach chairs, and out in the water we have activities, the water trampoline and the climbing mountain and teeter-totter apparatus. There's also canoes, kayaks, hydro bikes. These are bicycles on pontoons, and they scoot like you wouldn't believe on the water. And even the kids can take their fishing rod, and there's rod holders right in front of these things, and go fishing right in the bay right in front of our cottages.
Looks ideal for everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say. Everyone's invited.
Rob, you're heading up there tomorrow to do some work. Let us know a little bit about what the plans are over the winter time to keep improving the lodge for everybody.
Yeah, so we're taking this opportunity to make our lodge more luxury in the wilderness. Our cottages are very well maintained and clean, as I said, but we're always updating. And this year seems to be the year for washrooms replacements. We got some larger units that have a little older bathrooms, and so we're updating these. I have the time to do it this year, and so we're doing that. But something that we notice is that we need accommodations for wheelchair accessibility or disabled people. And we're actually taking 2 of our large 3-bedroom units and installing bathrooms that are large and set up for disabled people in wheelchairs. Like these are going to be super duper large showers, vanities that handle that people can sit under, and large doorways. And the kitchens, our hallways and kitchens are wide enough now. So we see a real need for this, and we're going for it. We have the time to do it, and we're doing it.
That's really wonderful.
It's a real learning curve, because we take advantage of every day, walk in a shower and everything like this, but you don't realize what people need when you're sitting in a chair.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You know, I've had the fortune of working with a group out of Thunder Bay called Wilderness North, who's a very different market than yours, and they realize this as well. And they do a fantastic program with Project Healing Waters and Heroes Mending on the Fly, where they have Canadian versus American veterans come in that need help, that are wheelchair bound, that are PTSD affected, and they bring them in fly fishing for a week. And I'm here to tell you that it's a 180-degree turnaround to offer outdoor recreation to somebody that is conflicted in some way,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, I've seen people that are suicidal come in, and by the time they get back on the their vacation's over, or their time with the lodge is over, they give big hugs and say thank you, you saved my life. So
Wow.
What you're doing is absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we see a real need. And another part of this is our fleet of boats. So we're adding pontoon boats to our fleet, where disabled people or people in wheelchairs can easily roll up on a ramp onto a pontoon boat and go fishing with their buddies. And that's huge as well. That's all part of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's get back to a bit of the fishing. Jenna, let's walk through some of the flies. I've fished in the area quite a bit. Let's walk through some of the flies that you found that were super effective, and some of the setup that you used when fishing. And you guys, Rob and Kathi, please feel free to chime in if you've got something to add on based on your experience as well.
So for this trip specifically, we were very, very lucky in that everyone who does fly fishing for smallmouth bass, you dream of topwater. And this was ideal because even when we tried to, we couldn't catch a single fish on anything but topwater. I only used topwater flies the entire trip. So for a week.
Wow.
I think there was one afternoon, Rob, I think I'm remembering correctly, that the fish had kind of turned off. So we decided to switch it up. I switched to, I switched to a sink tip line, and I put on a streamer. I think I put on the Scotty McFly, which I have here. And they wouldn't take. I tried a whole bunch of different flies, streamers, and they wouldn't take. And as soon as I switched back to topwater flies, bang. So that was pretty exceptional. And of course, I was using, I had a 5 and I had a 6-weight rod with me and floating line. And I found that the flies that worked best were these green poppers. Yeah, exactly. Where's the camera? This green popper with the concave head. I really like concave poppers with concave heads because the sound is really, really attractive to the fish. Yes, exactly. And then with these little rubber legs kind of wiggle in the water, make a commotion. So the green with the kind of yellow was really effective. And then the orange kind of tiger striped were primarily the ones that were most effective for me on that trip.
Right. And what was interesting about that trip, Jenna, is that you managed to hit a time that bass anglers completely need to experience. And it was the Dragonfly hatch. And you need to take a look at this.
So Rob has brought us to the lower lake just under the waterfall, and this lake is just so calm. It's about 8:15 and there's a front coming in, so we've got lots of cloud cover. It was really hot today. For some reason, my dad always told me that topwater action for smallmouth bass is always wicked before a front, and with tomorrow scheduled for rain, this has been awesome. So this area is pretty shallow. It's 5 to 6 feet, and there's all these tall, long weeds coming up right near the surface. They're not quite breaking the surface yet, but not too far from the surface. And there's a huge amount of dragonflies just coming and trying to land on top. And what we've noticed this evening is that when the dragonflies are getting close, trying to land on these weeds, that's when, one rose over there. That's when the bass are coming up and trying to eat them. So what I've been doing is I've got my topwater fly, my floating line, and I'm trying to put my fly just right on top or just right past where the weeds are just barely coming out of the water, because that's where the dragonflies are getting eaten. Fingers crossed, we have some luck. I've caught one and I missed one. Let's see if we can land a fish.
So one of the cool things about that situation, I mean, that you hit it. I mean, we had a situation this summer where we missed it by about an hour, and then we had to wait probably until about 2 o'clock before those fish would start feeding again. But the fly that Jenna's using is really quite interesting because it's got these legs on it that actually could look like dragonfly wings. Now, what I would do with this fly if it was me is I always carry a Sharpie with me. In my fly box, I always have a Sharpie, and I would paint the bottom of that fly black so that it would actually look more like a dragonfly, or green for that matter. So it looked more like a dragonfly, and it would take out the whether it's a frog pattern or a fire tiger pattern, and it drives these fish absolutely crazy. So Good job, Jenna. You hit it perfectly, and that must have been an absolute thrill of a lifetime.
It was incredible. I never experienced anything like that before. Like, just even the quantity of dragonflies buzzing around our heads while we were casting, and then all over the surface of the water, and just every other cast I would hear pop, 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 pop all across that area of the lake of fish rising and eating the dragonflies. It was incredible.
So what go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, it was an incredible evening. I've experienced that a few times, but that was amazing. Like there's dragonflies. You could see in the footage, in some of that footage, dragonflies all around you, right, Jenna?
Yes.
And those dragonflies would land on those top of those little wee floating leaves, and next thing you know, you got this big swirl of a fish, and that was a special time to be there. And it was right after black fly seasons, right? And then you see the dragonflies, and the area was full of dragonflies, which is amazing, and just watching them. But to see them land on these top leaves, and then the fish attacking them, yeah, great action.
Yeah, like hardly any words. I mean, another wonderful perk of that many dragonflies, besides the exceptional smallmouth fishing, was that there were no bugs while we were out fishing.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is often a very unique thing to have happen in Northern Ontario.
That's true, yes.
Hey, Rob and Kathi, Ted from Boston is asking, do you have guides on staff?
Yes, of course. We have a number of guides that freelance for us. And I wonder if I know this Ted guy. And I'm wondering if he's looking for a job. and I'm holding interviews, in April for guides. I do have a room for a couple more specialists on our staff.
If he's not busy.
He may not be busy. Who knows?
But yes, we have guides available, and they specialize in fly fishing and spin rod. You just let us know what type of fishing you want to go for, what type of fish. Okay, and I'm there to set that all up for you.
Okay, so go ahead.
Sorry, you asked us what kind of fishing we do and everything. We're lodge owners. We don't fish. We look after everybody.
Exactly.
So, we're the host. We're not the fishers.
Right. So another question from a different Ted in Boston says, do you have any good mayfly hatches? If so, how do you target them?
Yeah, mayfly fly hatch is not usually much of a problem. We're on the inland lakes, and not too far away, 15-minute drive is Georgian Bay in the North Channel, Lake Huron.
Yeah.
And that can be a real problem out there with the mayfly hatch. Our inland lakes, we hardly see a period with that type of hatch. Yeah, I don't know why that is, but we're kind of fortunate with our fishermen not to have that problem.
Right. And the reason why why Rob's saying that is because, when the mayfly hatch goes off, generally the next day or the next 3 days, things get really quiet on the water, don't they?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Super quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Jenna, let's go back to Trophy Alley and some of the flies that we love to fish with in the area. You've shown us the Scotty's McFly. Can you throw that up again? That's a pattern developed by Mark Curry out of Fly Mart. Jenna's looks great. Mine has been used and has been beaten out. It's the only one I could find. It's the only one I've got.
Works for wear.
Yeah, it's a sad story, but I can't get rid of it because it did so well by me. So Scotty's McFly for sure as a great streamer pattern tied by Scott Curry. My bad. I've got Marks and Ted's on the mind right now.
And now that Fly Mart is actually a 15-minute drive away from our lodge.
Right, just outside of Massey, right?
Yeah, very close to Massey, and we'll send people over there, and they have quite the experience in the shop right there. So that's pretty cool for us to have a fly mart.
And
so
actually, close. Bill Spicer named that fly.
Did he?
Yeah, Bill Spicer named that fly.
So yeah, when Bill Spicer, he's been to our place as a host for New Fly Fishing twice, and the first time he was with us, Scott sent some flies over.
Nice.
And those Scotty McFlies is what was a huge hit for their very first show with a new fly fisherman at Waterfalls Lodge. It was pretty cool.
That's cool. And it's actually, that fly's become world famous now for not only smallmouth, but for all kinds of different species.
Wow.
Nice.
That was an excellent one to have in your fly box.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is if you go onto our good friends Tightline Productions YouTube page, they just released the tying recipe. Tim and Joan Flagler at Tightline Productions released the recipe for the Scotty's McFly. Yeah,
wow.
super cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one of the things that I love about fishing for smallmouth in your region is that, you know, there's a variety of flies that will work. Topwater flies for sure are great. You can go something as small as a little, as Jenna experienced, a little balsa popper, you know, tiny little thing, or you can go with something as big as a giant gurgler. This fly was tied for me from a guy who fishes striped bass out of Rhode Island. And this thing kills smallmouth bass. It's absolutely perfect. But Jenna's got one of the flies that is an absolute game changer when it comes to fishing for smallmouth.
And it's called the Game Changer, funny enough.
So it's an articulated fly that if you strip it, when you strip it, it dies. And when it dies, it darts. And it darts back and forth. Yeah. And it was developed by a guy named Blaine Chocolate. And he's got a new edition of the Game Changer coming out that you'll have to check out too, because it's even more deadly.
It's pretty cool to watch these things move in the water as you're stripping your line. It's
magic.
I don't have any words. It's so much fun because I've always had so much success using the Game Changer.
Yeah. There's another relatively new fly over the last 5 years that's come to the market through our friends at Orvis. It's called a dragon tail. And what a dragon tail is it emulates an eel or a snake or something that is pretty slithery. So this is it. It's a kid's toy, actually. I remember getting one of these for Christmas when I was a kid, right?
Really?
And you might only catch 1 or 2 fish on it, but it dies. And when it dies in the water, it completely serpents up and it drives all species crazy. We've caught brown trout, rainbows, bass, pike, muskie, tarpon, all kinds of different species on this fish. So game changers are key as well. Now, tell us a little bit about the invasive species, Rob and Kathi, that are in the areas that these bass feed on.
Well, our lakes are fortunate where invasive species is not a problem yet.
Right.
The big feed fish or feed bait is crayfish, anything crayfish or topwater bugs.
Right.
So the crayfish, especially for spin rod guys, crayfish, tube jigs, things like that, are a must in your package to go fishing. Invasive species are in the Great Lakes, which is the North Channel of Lake Huron, which is very close to us. We have to be very careful about transferring boats and equipment back and forth. Unfortunately,
kids are going to bed.
Hey, boys.
So, fortunately, invasive species, the bad ones, we're okay in our lake so far.
Right. So, what I was referring to was years ago, rainbow smelt got into the system nearby that were not natural to your water bodies, and that's why flies like the Murdich minnow in a white pattern or a murdered minnow, which works amazing on your lake in a
Yeah.
perch pattern, are absolutely deadly.
Mhm.
Absolutely deadly.
Yeah,
Now,
you would think so. Yes.
Especially the ones with the rattles in the heads. Those I find really, really drive the fish mad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and that big eye is an attractor. So murdered minnows. Now, and with these bass, you do not need to worry about going big at all, because I mean, I've got 2 fatheads here that have proven absolutely deadly in the region, and they are just absolutely deadly. Sorry,
Yeah.
deadly patterns. You know, they're a little tougher to cast. You need your 6 or 7 weight for this, but they're awesome flies.
They look like they should be. Yeah, I love the colors. They're very popular colors. So yeah, love to try that sometime.
Can't go wrong with a black woolly bugger. Beadhead, of course, gets down, gets really is really effective. This will catch any species of fish, and of course, a muddler minnow. Can't go wrong.
Classic.
Absolutely. So,
And those colors, those those will work for northern pike too, for sure.
Yeah.
I would think those colors look very similar to what we'll use for northern pike, which we have in our lakes as well. So the northern pike action can be very good if you target them.
right.
Another thing I learned, especially with Bill Spicer, first time out with him, hosting a show, is topwater action for sure, but also be equipped with a sinking line or streamers that will sink into a little deeper in alongside rocks and things like that. Oh, I always recommend that to guests. You know, have two setups: topwater action, and then also some sinking line with streamers.
Yeah,
I agree.
don't discount your crayfish patterns as well. You know, those crayfish patterns on a sinking line or a sink tip in the shallower areas are absolutely perfect for this.
Yes. Yep. No doubt about it.
So the last question I have for you guys is, you are in Trophy Alley. You have access to 5 different lakes. Can you tell me about the lakes, and then tell me about the lakes in your region that you have access to?
Yeah. Okay. Great question. At the lodge we have 5 lakes that are all connected. So right from our lodge, there's lakes that you can boat through and fish right from our lodge, right from your docks.
Right.
So that right there is 10,000 acres of water within those 5 lakes. And these lakes are full of mostly rock structure with some weed beds, but you're mainly working with rock structure, with drop-offs, rock points, rock piles, okay, boulders. And if you can throw in a fallen tree with that, that's usually a plus. Some weed beds, and weed lines can be very, very active at times throughout the year. So our lakes offer depth with great structure, mostly rock. So at the lodge we have 5 lakes. Our side-by-side trips with guides, about an hour's ride. I have 2 lakes that I mainly use. They're large lakes, and they're full of bays, same type of structure, and it's quite the experience. An hour's ride to these lakes is worth the price. And then you spend the day with a guide, which is all included in our day trips, and he'll get you on the fish and making memories. It's unbelievable, and I love it when guests come back from these trips and they're just smiles ear to ear, and they're showing me the pictures and putting their ballots into the ballot box for all the trophies, and it's pretty exciting times. But another third option is the Spanish River fishing.
Mm-hmm.
We're only 10 minutes away. Drive to the river. We take boats there, or if you have your own boat, you can take your boat there. And that's our hot spot for walleye fishing, especially in the spring, May and June. Phenomenal walleye fishing. We do have all other species there as well. And then when you get into July, the 4th option is the North Channel Lake Huron. It's so close to us. and you can go with a guide, or you can take your own boat, or we'll take boats there for you. So in our particular area, lots of choices.
Right.
And it's great to offer different choices to get people fishing, catching fish, and it's all about their experience. And we're the people to do that. we get you hooked up.
Do you guys know Paul Hayward?
See, you look like you're home well deserved. Hi, Paul. Hey, Paul, give me a little more hints.
Josh Schreiber asked, can you do a popper dropper setup for bass? Absolutely, Josh. One of my favorite techniques is to put a dry fly on, and then especially with what Jenna experienced during the dragonfly hatch, is put a big stonefly nymph or a big dragonfly nymph on underneath. The popper will attract the fish, and the nymph will seal the deal for you. That's a great question too. All right, so guys, thank you very much. Let's talk about how people can get in touch with you and how they can book their time at Waterfalls Lodge.
All right, go ahead, Gal.
Rob does all the accommodations, so there you go. I do the cooking. Help with the cooking there.
It's very, very good. Highly recommend.
Yeah, our restaurant wasn't open when Jenna was there, but I cooked for all the hosts at our house, so we had some good meals, didn't we?
You're definitely treated very well. Ryan still talks about that seafood pasta you made.
Yeah, seafood fettuccine we had for supper one night. You missed it, Mark. Gee whiz.
5 kilometers, too far.
So to contact us, our website's there, and full of information, full of pictures, and information about what we offer. You can contact us through our website. You can always give us a phone call. Our toll-free number is there on our website, and those are the 2 best ways to get a hold of us. Okay. But we always try to be near the phone, and we're always responding to emails.
If we're not home, like sometimes we have to step out. We got grandkids, so tell you something. So if we're not there, just leave your name, your number. As soon as we get back, we'll give you a call. So we're always returning calls as soon as we can. So yeah, just give us a call.
Well, Jenna, what's your summation of your experience at Waterfalls Lodge?
It's very hard to articulate it and put it into words. It was so much fun. I had so much fun out on the water with Rob, teaching Kathi how to fly fish. We also went on a hike one day when it was really, really hot. The fishing is incredible. The food was exceptional. And best of all was the company of Rob and Kathi. I had such an incredible week there with you guys, and I really appreciate you welcoming me and giving me such a great time.
Thank you.
Well, thanks. It works both ways, Jenna. It was a pleasure fishing with you and exploring our area, and we had a blast.
Yeah.
And we timed it perfectly with great fishing action.
Yeah.
With dragonflies. Like I'll never forget that.
No,
part.
I won't. I won't either.
Yeah, but you're not too hard to get along with, Jenna. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, keep in mind that the show is on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, at 12 Eastern time, Saturday afternoon. That's this Saturday, so 9 a.m. Pacific time. You can check out Jenna's adventure with Rob and Kathi. I've seen the show, and believe me, I'm gonna stop and drive those 5 kilometers in next time I go by, and make sure that I go in for that seafood linguine.
Oh, we don't serve that, only to special guests.
Oh, okay.
Me on everyone but Mark.
Everybody but me. Story of my life. But in all honesty, in all seriousness, if you want to go to a fishing lodge, because Rob and Kathi and I do the fly fishing tours together, and we've spent hours and hours and days in booths across and with each other and laughing and giggling and having a blast. If you want to go to a lodge where you really feel like family, go to Waterfalls.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah.
So one thing that I will leave you with is our brand new season of The New Fly Fisher has started to air on YouTube, and it will soon broadcast on Sportsman Channel Canada and World Fishing Network. But in the meantime, I would like to leave you with a trailer of what you can expect from this season.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. There were two fish fighting for it. Both came and broke the surface, and then this one just hammered the fly. Ready and go. Oh wow.
Nice.
That is absolutely wicked.
So Chris has spotted and got me into first fish. We've seen some others. We just saw 6 go by us. There he goes. That was outstanding. And you know, the best part was getting him on a bomber. Like, that was awesome. Took 3 or 4 casts, got it in there. Chris helped me, boom, fish on.
It's a fish factory, it's a food factory. There's a lot of different ways to fish the river. It's just cool. It's you know, it's a pretty amazing place.
How do you like that 22-inch brown trout on a pheasant tail waiting in Montana? Nice. All right, so we're hooked up here to a nice big brown trout. Browns are not the dominant species in the Bighorn, but you do have a shot at catching them. And when you do get them, they're generally pretty big, and this one looks fantastic. Yeah! Woo! How do you like that? What a fantastically large, aggressive, wild brown.
Adam had me thrown into the back, slowly stripping, and then dropping it off the ledge. We saw the fish roll up in behind it. We slowed down the presentation and smash. Big old smallie.
Oh my gosh, it's a giant.
That's a tank. This is the reason we make the drives. This might be my personal best, boys. That might be my personal best.
He's got it. I got him. Sweet.
Big fish.
How's that?
It's a big pike.
That is a monster. Oh my goodness. Yes! Can you believe this?
That is a big pike.
Thanks, sweetheart. What an unbelievable animal. Rob, is that your biggest northern?
That is my biggest northern.
Congratulations,
Thanks,
buddy.
man.
Ah! That's a stud.
Nice fish.
That's a big fish,
That's
man.
a nice one.
Nice. You had just said, too, we're going to pull a big one out of here.
Yeah, we're going to find another nice one right in here somewhere.
All right.
There he is.
Great fish.